ותגל הארץ ירעם הים ומלואו ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ ירעם הים ומלואו יבא ביי 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 יבא ביי 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 יבא ביי 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yismechu hashamayim ותגל הארץ ירעם הים ומלואו ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ ירעם הים ומלואו יבא ביי 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 yabba bye 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 bye
I feel like over the last couple of weeks, we have seen in media and on posts a couple of what one might call anti-Semitic rhetoric about Jews and what Jews should believe or where their loyalty should be. And I know many of my colleagues and I agree that we're feeling like we're being a little bit targeted, and there's questions of how is it we should respond? What do we do because of it? And I think we do what we always do. We remember that we, no matter how we might feel about the society we live in, are eternally the other. And what we need to do is think about the other, not just ourselves, but all the other others out there. And how do we stick up for the voiceless? How do we assert a moral truth and stand for what we believe in? And how do we continually work for a society that's not just safe for the Jews, but safe for everybody? Because in truth, the only society that's safe for the Jews is an equitable society for all. Our future, our prosperity, our ability to exist and right to exist is continually and forever wrapped up in everybody's right to exist and live their lives. Now, how do we go about creating a world that's equitable for everybody? By keep pursuing peace wherever we may see it, and always stick up for the voiceless. Let's take a moment now as we think about those in the world around us who are others that we need to bring into the fold so that they aren't others anymore.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
My name is Ina Horn, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to Anshe Emeth Memorial Temple. Whether you are in our beautiful sanctuary or connecting with us online through our many virtual platforms, we are happy that you are here to experience the community, friendship, blessings, and love that may be found at Anshe Emeth. Now it is my pleasure to invite Carrie August to the Bima to light the Shabbat candles and lead us in the blessings that may be found on pages 2 and 3 in your prayer books. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
I didn't prepare for this.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lechadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We continue on pages 20 and 21 for Lecha Dodi.
Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Yishme'anu elcha miuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'litila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Shabbat nekabela, likrat Shabbat lekuvenecha, ki bekorcha bracha, merosh mikedem mesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava b'tefila, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela, mikdash melech ir melucha, u'mitzeim betoch afecha, ravlach shevet be'emecha b'cha, v'hu yachamol alayich emla, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela, hinani me'ot farkumi, livsi b'keiti fartechami, oyad b'nishai b'chalachmi, karva nafshi ge'ala, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela, hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva orech umi uri, 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 shir daberi, kevod Adonai alayk nigla. likrakala, perei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrakala, perei Shabbat nekabela, lo tevoshiv lo tikami mashti shochachi, umatechem mibach yakisu, ani v'niftar, iratila, lecha dodi likrakala, perei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrakala, perei Shabbat nekabela, vehayu li mashiv sashosai v'rachaku, kol mevayik yasis v'layik, Elohai, kim sos chatzat al-kala, lecha dodi likrakala, perei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrakala, perei Shabbat nekabela, yaminu smotiv rodziv et Adonai, taritzi al yad ish, ben partzi v'nismecha v'nagila, lecha dodi likrakala, perei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi
We rise in either body or spirit.
perei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom, ateret balagam b'simcha, u'v'tzola toch emunei, am segula, boikala, boikala. Lecha dodi likrakala, perei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrakala, perei Shabbat nekabela.
Shabbat Shalom. We continue with Chatzi Kaddish on page 26.
Yitkadav, yikadosh meraba,
Amen.
ve'amad yivrach yotei v'yamlich bachotei,
V'chayechon
v'yom echon, uv'chayet kol beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uv'izman kariv, v'yemeru, Amen. Yehi shmira mevora, li'olam li'omei omaya, itbarach, itbarach, v'yishabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnasei, v'yitadar, v'yitalev, v'yitalal, shomer kodesha, richu, leila min kol birchata, v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran mi'ama, v'yemeru, Amen.
We rise now in either body or spirit for the Baruch Hu on page 28.
Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'dvaro ma'ariv haravim, v'chokhmah poteach sha'arim, u'bitbuna mishaneh itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, Misader et ha-kochavim b'mishmeroteim barakia kirtzano. Borei yom v'layla, v'lel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or. Ma'avir yom u'mevi layla, u'mavdil ben yom u'vein layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid imloch alenu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. Please be seated.
V'yavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol olecha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha v'hayu harvarim ha'elech asher Elohim mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shiratam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'fetecha uv'levtecha b'derech u'shokpecha uv'kumecha u'kshartam lehod ayadecha v'hayu letotavo bein einecha uv'tavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני Adonai Elohechem, Asher Hoseitechem Meretz Mitzrayim, Lihio lachem Elohim, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Together from the top of page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Give us a place to rest, Adonai, our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haparei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
Ashkevedu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Uvros aleinu sukat shlomecha, uvros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. Ashkevedu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu shalom. Ananananas Vatai Tivtak. Ananananana Ufiagid. Ufiagid Tehilateka. Ananananana Adonai. Ananananas Vatai Tivtak. Ananananana Ufiagid. Ufiagid Tehilateka. Ananananana Adonai. Anananananas Vatai Tivtak. Ananananana Ufiagid. Ufiagid Tehilateka. Ananananana Adonai. Vatai Tivtak. Ufiagid. Ufiagid Tehilateka.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Ha'anora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezoker Chasdei Avot Ve'imot, Ve'Nikra Livnei Bneihem, Naman Shemo Be'ahava, Le'ozer Moshiach Magid, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayel Kol Atarav Le'Moshiach, Mechakel Ha'im Be'chesed, Mechayel Hakol Be'rachamim Rabim, Zorech Noflim Ve'rofeh Holim, U'matir Asurim, U'mekayem Emunato, Lishenei Avot, Mikamo Kabal Yehurot, U'midomela, Melech Memit U'mekayem, U'matzliach Yeshua. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayel Hakol. Kadosh V'Shemcha Kadosh, Kadosh Shemona V'Chalu V'Chatzela. Baruch atah Adonai,
We continue with silent prayer through page 63, adding the words and meditations of our hearts. When you are ready to continue, you may be seated. in the beginning of my time here at Anshe Emeth, I gave my first sermon on Shabbat Shuvah 2021. And given the daunting task of introducing myself, I made a risky choice. I gave a very serious build-up about how honored I was to be here and how excited I was to be a rabbinic intern, and then I came out as a cat person. I said I love cats. I can't help it. I was born this way. I know this congregation has become accustomed to Rabbi Baisley and his beautiful dog Toodles, but there is nothing in our texts that says a cat person can't be a rabbi. I'm not exaggerating when I say I truly had no idea how that was going to land. I'm telling you full body relief when I heard Rabbi Baisley laughing behind me and David Levine laughing in the pews. I'm hoping other people laughed as well, but those two have really distinctive loud laughs, and bless both of them. This was not just a joke. This was a very carefully calculated way to introduce myself. Frequently, when people see me, they make some assumptions about who I might be. They see my body contrasted with how I dress, and to put it bluntly, people often think I'm going to be a militant feminist with no sense of humor. So I made a joke. I alluded to my identity because I wanted to bring it into the room. I wanted to say I know how I look, but instead of giving the expected label, I gave a different one. I didn't tell you my gender, but I did tell you about me. I love cats. I don't take myself too seriously, and I think humor can carry important words of Torah. In the introduction of our Torah, establishing the world as we know it, God creates through labels and binaries, separating light from darkness, day from night, land from water. And humanity has the special distinction of two origin stories. In the first chapter of Breshit, humanity is created all together, Zachar u'nekeva, male and female, or masculine and feminine. In the second chapter, Adam is created again by himself from the dirt, and then Eve is pulled from his rib. So how are we created? Our commentators have puzzled over this question for centuries. Rashi explained the two stories by saying that first, creation occurred with one single being that was both male and female, and androgynous. And the second creation story divides the original united being into two. Breshit Rabbah, our narrative midrash, explains that Adam is created first with Lilith, a disobedient woman who is expelled from the garden and replaced during our second creation story with Eve, the woman that we know. But I want to talk about a different interpretation of this text, perhaps a riff on our story from Breshit Rabbah. Cartoonist Liana Fink recently wrote an incredible piece of modern midrash, a graphic novel called Let There Be Light. In Fink's retelling, God is very explicitly a woman. And God does not begin the process of creation out of benevolence or some grand design. She creates it for a very human reason. She's lonely. So she creates light and darkness, land and water, creatures that swim and fly and walk. She blesses all of the things she creates, and at first she's very happy. But then she becomes hard on herself. She mourns and she cries because she has done all this work of creation and cannot see herself in any of it. So, humanity. She creates humanity, two beings in her own image, not divided by male and female, but by day and night. Adam, the creature of the day, represents the lightness in God, and Lilith, the creature of the night, embodies her inner darkness and depths, the criticisms that drove her to create humanity in the first place. Together, they represent her perfectly, and she loves them. She asks Adam to name the rest of her creations, and as he names the animals, Elephant, tiger, bat. They all change from amorphous blobs into distinct shapes in Adam's mind. Then she asks Adam to name her, and Adam does. But when he names her, she becomes a solid concept to him. And his solid concept of her is an old man with a beard. She's taken aback. That's not who God is. But before she can say anything to correct him, Adam goes to Lilith and says, "Your name is woman." Lilith says, "I'm not woman. I'm Lilith, the creature of the night." God watches Adam's reaction very carefully. And Adam is stunned. If Lilith is not woman, what if all the animals have the wrong names? What if God has the wrong name? What if Adam doesn't know anything? He breaks down crying. Adam's pain makes God so profoundly sad. Adam was the manifestation of God's light and blessing. What does it mean if Adam is not happy? So God banishes Lilith and creates a woman, Eve, in her place. And instead of telling Adam that he missed the true image of God herself, she spares him the pain and lets him see her as he does. Through the process of naming, something is gained: a shorthand, an understanding, a level of intimacy with everything around you. But through the process of naming, something is lost: that formlessness, that infinite ability to become whatever is possible, something new, distinct. If we name something and miss the contours of what it is meant to be, we lose opportunities for deeper knowledge and deeper intimacy. We assign expectation and seek points of data to the traits we've already assigned. When I introduced myself to this congregation, I did not mean to keep a secret. I meant to avoid a question I didn't have the answer to yet. The first time I expressed an inkling that I might be different, I was 3 years old. My parents told me unequivocally that I was wrong. I was a girl, and the name they had given me was my name. My mom continued to reinforce to me how naturally feminine I was, and any time I felt uncomfortable in my body, she told me all women feel that way. Even when we are created knowing our truth, it is remarkably easy to lose it. To me, the most powerful moment of Liana Fink's Midrash on Genesis comes long after our creation story. Adam and Eve have had children, they have had children, they have had children. Flood happens somewhere. Generations have passed, and this misconception of God has persisted. Everyone still thinks God is an old man with a beard. And finally, God chooses Abraham, or Abram when we meet him, to be her prophet. And when she wants him to be her prophet, she wants him to know her. She wants to connect with him. But he still sees her as an old man with a beard. In Fink's words, God berates herself. If I don't tell him who I am, he'll never truly understand what I want from him. But on the other hand, if I do show him my face, he won't love me anymore. If I show him my face, he won't love me anymore. I don't know if I can explain to you the painful parts of being trans with better words than these. To be trans is to be forced to choose between being loved and not seen, or being seen and not loved. When you reject a label or a name, it can be perceived as a rejection of intimacy or connection. If someone felt they profoundly saw you, knew you, loved you as you were, how can you choose to leave that behind? Culturally, we are finally coming to the understanding that when we name ourselves, when we tell people who we are, it is a path to connection, not a barrier. When we tell people who we are, we say, I want you to know me. I want to offer you everything that I am, good and bad and messy and strange, because I want to be in deeper relationship with you. So in the spirit of that, I'd like to finish something that I started. About 4 months ago, I began hormone replacement therapy with my first shot of testosterone. I have never felt more present in my body or more able to truly be myself. I identify as transmasculine, and my pronouns are he, him, his, or they, them, theirs. I feel so overwhelmingly blessed to be able to share this part of me with you. To be seen and supported by this community is no small thing. I cannot tell you how heartening and healing it has been to be accepted here with open arms, and that Rabbi Baisley has stood by me as my boss and my mentor at every turn. I get to come to synagogue knowing that I will have a community who is willing to see me and that my pronouns will be respected. In the Reform movement, there are only 2 ordained transgender rabbis, and there are 18 transgender students currently studying to become rabbis and cantors. Yeah, pretty impressive. I pray for the day that they all receive the kind of acceptance in their communities that I've received here. I have good news about the painful part of being trans. It's not the only part of being trans, and the good far, far outweighs the bad. To be trans and Jewish is a wonderful and holy thing. Our tradition is full of treasures hidden in plain sight for people to find. From Rashi's theory that the first human in Breshit was an androgynous being, to the theory that Sarah and Abraham fell outside the binary, to the 6 genders of the Talmud, to the traditional Kabbalistic belief of the masculine and feminine meeting in divine combination, to the many historical accounts of gender bending and gender defying in Jewish community. There is something deeply magical about breaking the binary in a tradition that loves binaries. And that is even better news, because it turns out that binaries are pretty hard to uphold. There's not a single binary in Breshit that isn't broken by the reality of creation. We can try to separate light from dark, but it doesn't stop twilight. We can try to separate day from night, but it doesn't stop dusk. We can try to separate land from water, but it doesn't stop mud. Breshit is a beautiful text, but I've never met a human being simple enough that they fit plainly into a binary. The simplicity of the Garden of Eden was not big enough to contain all that we are. We are the divine image, divided and refracted. We are seekers. We are walking contradictions, called to examine things in ourselves and our world that don't make sense. Like Adam, we create new names and let new concepts take shape. Without the comfort and safety of Eden, we are given the opportunity to work with God in co-creation. And may we welcome all our new discoveries with open hearts and open arms. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam.
Shabbat Shalom once again. And just a few announcements before we conclude our service. First of all, a big thank you to Barbara Fisherman and to Dave Schlossberg for the music this evening. Just a few things happening over the next couple of days. Tomorrow morning at 10:45, my sheet says 10:30 here, it should be 10:45. So ignore what's in the trifold and ignore what's on the sheet because there's adult eds that's still happening then. But at 10:45 tomorrow morning, Rabbi David Levy he's the director of AJC New Jersey, the American Jewish Committee of New Jersey. He's coming to present on how do we prepare our youth and how do we equip them to deal with anti-Semitism they might face on college campuses, which is something, if you've been following the news, right before Rosh Hashanah, there was a nice flare-up all over. He's coming with many resources that we can give to our young college students or those about to go into college. So all are welcomed. It's the Rabbinic Forum tomorrow morning at 10:45 in person and on Zoom. We'll be in the Beit Midrash. And then on Sunday, we have our Reese Kaplan Jewish Identity in Literature lecture, which will be at 10:30. That is at 10:30. Sunday morning, Tova Mirvis is coming in to talk to us about not just her latest book, the Book of Separation, but also kind of how she comes to literature and how she merged her literature with her Jewish identity. She was a wonderful author. It's going to be a wonderful lecture. I want to invite you all to come in. It's going to be either streamed on YouTube or in person. Really, though, encourage you for all these presentations. If you feel comfortable coming into the building, if you're able to, please come in. But we're going to make sure that everybody at home has a good experience as well. But please, if you can, come on in. It's a different type of atmosphere. And then, lastly, while this is happening in a couple of weeks, our Taste of Anshe Emet, our cheese tasting, will be on Saturday, November 5th. But you need a RSVP by next Thursday so we can make sure we have all the cheese we need. So RSVP by Thursday so that you can be a part of our Anshe Emet cheese tasting. Of course, there are lots of other things happening, but we'll leave that for another week and another set of announcements. At the conclusion of our service, we'll join together in Lippman Hall for Kiddush and Motzi and a chance to greet one another and wish each other a Shabbat Shalom. As we gather here on this Shabbat Eve, and as we join together as one congregation to celebrate creation, the joy of life and living, we turn our thoughts to those in our community for whom life has become precarious because of health or hospitalization. O God of healing, in our hearts we name those who are facing illness and pain. We join our prayers together with the prayers of those who love them. Give them renewed comfort and courage. Strengthen in them the healing powers you place within us all. And guide the hands and hearts of those who are entrusted with their care. May the knowledge of your love and ours give added hope to them and their families. May they find even greater strength because our prayers are linked to theirs. Mishaberach avotenu v'imotenu hu yevarechet hacholim, rufuat hanefesh u'rufuat haguf, hashta'a b'ga'ala v'zman kariv v'nomar. Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless those in need of healing. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, as together we say, Amen.
Rivka, Rachel, Leah,
We continue now on page 282 as we rise in either body or spirit for Elenu. Page 287. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, loved, each of us, for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear, doubt, and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. It is hard to sing of oneness when the world is not complete, when those who once brought wholeness to our life have gone and naught but memory can fill the emptiness their passing leaves behind. But memory can tell us only what we were in company with those we loved. It cannot help us find what each of us alone must now become. Yet no one is really alone. Those who live no more echo still within our thoughts and words, and what they did is part of what we have become. We do best homage to our dead when we live our lives more fully, even in the shadow of our loss, for each of our lives is worth the life of the whole world, and each one is the breath of the ultimate one. In affirming the one, we affirm the worth of each one, whose life now ended brought us closer to the source of life, and whose unity no one is alone, and every life finds purpose. We name now those whom death has recently taken from us, those whose families are observing the Shloshim. We remember Peter Churchill, husband of Judy, brother-in-law of Susan and Andrew, and father of Jessica and Herb, and Jonathan, and grandfather of Mia. And we remember Thomas Levy, husband of Rita, father of Scott and Judy, Sherry and Mark, and Andrew and Elaine, and grandfather of Joshua and Eric, Jason and Stephanie, Morgan and Brandon, Samuel and Sarah, and great-grandfather to Madeline and Noah and Taylor. And we remember Beverly Sakharov, mother of Scott and Brian. And on this Shabbat, we also recall those dear ones who died at this season in years past and whose names we record with love in our service booklet this evening. Their names are forever bound to our hearts and are permanently inscribed throughout our building. And if you're joining us tonight online to say Kaddish for a loved one, I want to invite you to either say their names aloud at home or type their names into one of the chat features on our streaming sites. That way we can lift up the names of your loved ones together with you. And if you're here in person to say Kaddish for a loved one, please say their names as I look around the sanctuary. Zikranam livracha. May all their names and memories only be for a blessing. I invite all the mourners now, if able, to rise for Kaddish Tome, Mourner's Kaddish, on page 294. Yikadal, v'yikadas, shemei rabah, v'yalma divrach hirotei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chai echon v'yom echon, v'chai dekol beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kariv v'yamru, amen. Yehei shmei rabba mivrach l'olam l'omei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitoman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudashah b'yitbu, leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tush v'kata v'nechamata, damiran v'alma v'yamru, amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yamru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yamru, amen. May the source of peace bestow peace to all who mourn, and may we be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved, as we say, amen.
Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimeru, amen. Please rise and join in our closing song on 321, which will be Adon Olam. Adon Olam Hashem Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, Li'ein Asa V'chefsoko, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra, Ve'acharei Kiklot HaKol, Levado Yimloch Nara, Ve'hu Aya Ve'hu Ve'hu Yeh B'tifara, Ve'hu Yeh B'tifara, Ve'hu Echad Ve'ein Sheni, Naham Shilo Lechavira, B'li Reshis, B'li Tachlis, Ve'lo Ha'oz Ve'hamizrach, Ve'lo Ha'oz Ve'hamizrach, Ve'hu Eli V'chai Goli, Ve'tzur Kevli V'yetzara, Ve'hu Nisi U'manosli, Manat Kosi Ve'yom Ekra, Manat Kosi Ve'yom Ekra, Ve'yadu of Kiruki, Ve'eiti Sham Ve'yaira, Ve'imruchi Keviati, Adonai li v'lo ira, Adonai li v'lo ira.
Words of closing, a poem. So wrote the sages. I try to lay out for you the scripture of me, but you will not read it. You understand red letters, neat footnotes, the strict and silent, the solemn, the breathless. My mouth wraps vowels and voiceless fricatives in my mother tongue. I have margins, the space in me where my Mishnah goes. You say, why should you do this when God has given? He wrote your body in his image. Let me explain. I am made in his image as every verse burned into neurons and memorized from the beginning, through Simchat Torah, wound back again. I will write in the margins of me. I will bake the clay of me in this oven I deem kosher. Let the streams jump their banks and the trees dance to defy me. See, I have inscribed immutable truth here writ large across my body. The words were given to us here on earth, and every gift leaves the giver's hands. I will fill each page of me until I cannot cram another yud in anywhere. I will leave no crease or corner of this bequest unshaped, unexplored, unstudied, unknown. I know no red letters, no word too sacred to question. My body is given to me here on earth. This too is Torah. Shabbat Shalom.
And I know enough of it, I could just sing it. I was like, I see you every week. No, I don't even miss that.
Graduation, high school graduation, my son came out to the congregation right about there.
Oh, wow.
So, special place.
Yes, it is. It's a special place. Yeah. No, I think people started telling me that last year when I didn't come out.
Well, I had met you during the interview, so I knew a little bit
Yeah,
more.
yeah. You knew a thing or two about a thing or two. Yeah.
Very proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm more proud of tomorrow.